We've got a lot of news on USDA funding, plus global food commodity prices are down, and so much more on this episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which starts right now.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
Howdy ho!
Wow. It's been some time since we've been sitting here, hasn't it?
Happy New Year's, gents.
Yeah, 2024.
I was thinking this morning, I'm like, I'm equal parts glad to be back. And thinking, man, we got a lot of work ahead of us.
Yeah, a whole year's worth of work.
The first year of the show is in the books.
Yeah, I would like to just, say congratulations to John McMahon. He made it a year.
This would officially be your first
true.
anniversary, I guess. The first show of the new year.
I wonder what date it was last year.
It would have been. It might have been like the 20th or something of January. So, but
maybe with convention or something.
Yeah. Well, I just remember, it wasn't immediately, but it was before January was over that you had started.
Well, all I can say is that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my fans. So I really appreciate all your responses and likes and all the autographs I paid you for.
They're the ones that keep this room so cold, right?
Yeah.
The fan spinning.
The fan mail. I've seen it piled up on your desk, honestly.
Yeah.
And
Latasha's tired of handing it to me in bundles every day.
Speaking of fans, we had our winter commodity meetings on Tuesday, and I was walking into one of the meetings and kind of trying to quietly make my way in because the meeting had already started. And the guy comes up beside me. He's like, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm like, "Hey, good. If you're coming in, I'll let you in." He's like, "Yeah." I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
I was wondering. Gosh, I probably met him at another meeting. He's like, we're in the back of the room. You know this position. You're in the back of the room. You're listening. You're trying to pay attention to the speaker. He says, "I really like your show." It's like, "Oh, you've seen us before?" He's like, "Well, I'm mostly a listener. I listen up and down the road. But I love it, and I listen every week."
Well, good.
And I thought, well, that was nice to hear.
I got some compliments over the Christmas break.
Did you?
Yeah, while I was ducking.
That's very nice of your family to comment on how good of a job you're doing.
Yeah. My mom's sweet. She's a saint.
Your number one fan.
So some folks in the duck blind.
Yeah. They asked me how it was going, and they really enjoyed it.
Well, good deal.
So we even pretended like we were on a podcast. So it was a good time.
How about that? little role play right there in the duck blind. Assume y'all didn't kill very many ducks.
We didn't kill anything.
Oh,
we were just happy to be there.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes most of the time.
Yeah, how was your break?
It was good. It was pretty relaxing. I told somebody we only had to travel once, and we actually did that middle of December.
Yeah.
We hosted. We had everybody got what they wanted from Santa. So, yeah, no complaint.
I was thinking about y'all while we were eating Christmas Day lunch.
Yeah, were you?
We didn't have deviled eggs this year.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's not right.
My wife was like, "Oh, I didn't make the deviled eggs."
Oh, no.
And I said the same thing.
No. Oh, no.
Well, I can confirm for you guys, our last episode, we talked about it, but Hawaiian Christmas was a blast.
I was going to ask.
Lots of good food, specifically the pies, one of which was I think they call it I forget what it was called, but it's basically just an ice cream cake pie.
Oh, okay.
No, the Span Masubi was very good too. But,
Yeah.
it was lots of good stuff.
So which party's country won for next year in the vote?
So next year, Victorian Christmas.
Victoria, help me.
Bread pudding,
Okay.
duck.
Gross.
Scrooge, is he attending?
Are you going to have pigeon pie too?
We are going to have meat
Bread
pies
pudding,
probably.
goodness.
And shepherd's pie is very Victorian, so gonna make a shepherd's pie.
You've done that.
I've done that.
You've shot a video with that.
Are you gonna cook a swan?
Me? No.
Right out of the community.
Someone else?
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's funny. Victorian.
Yeah.
I thought you guys had some more, I'll say, adventurous options on the table.
I thought Harry Potter was an option.
Yeah, Harry Potter. Like,
I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
we don't want to get you kicked out of this family.
My girlfriend was the one who was the biggest proponent for Victorian Christmas. So
what a wonderful idea!
Yeah, it's a great
This is
idea.
creative.
Do you have a top hat and an eye monocle and all that?
We all are gonna get them, and we're all gonna get. All the men are gonna get fake sideburns.
Ooh.
We're even gonna put it on babies. It's gonna be great.
Babies are good.
If you need mustache tips, you know, for a handlebar,
Yeah, little
I know
handlebar.
the man.
Yeah. We'll get you straightened out.
Oh, that's fun. That makes me happy. Well, look, it is, what day is it? It's January the 11th. And you guys know, if you're listening to this show on Thursday or Friday, then you know we have a big old fat snow apocalypse staring us down at the moment. You know, these meteorologists try and be so creative with these storms.
Yeah.
And
The hammer.
The Arctic hammer. It like has a graphic and the whole nine.
What
like,
was that
Thor
movie
is
about?
coming.
It's not The Perfect Storm. It's The Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, with Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, with
and
Dennis
Jake
Quaid.
Gyllenhaal.
That's all I've kind of been thinking about last week because of all this.
That's what it feels
Yeah.
like. I feel like we've been talking
end
about
of the
this storm for 3 weeks.
I'm gonna be in the New York City Library burning books just to save one.
Well, we've, certainly it's supposed to be on its way. Tonight there's a threat for tornadoes. Tomorrow it'll be like drop 30 degrees by noon, I think here. I think Saturday is supposed to be pretty normal, pretty chill, like sun shining, 45 degrees, something like that. And then Sunday it all just breaks loose.
Sounds like to me everything's normal in Arkansas. Then.
Well,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Take your pick, a smorgasbord of weather options. Anyway, this has me thinking. Look, we get excited about days like this in my house. It's also a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
For most folks, certainly for us. So we've kind of been talking about, hey, what are we, what's the snow day going to look like if we get one, even if it's Monday. And so I thought I would ask you guys a 2-part question. Assuming that there is a snow day, knock on wood, no, we don't want to jinx it. Assuming there is a snow day, give me one activity that you hope to do, to achieve, to take part in, and one meal that you just need to have.
As an adult, or what I would have done as a kid?
You know what? Let's do it as an adult.
Yeah, that's not as fun, but okay.
Okay, well, all right.
You don't just do the same thing.
No.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Dude, I totally go back 20 years.
I wouldn't be able to just cut donuts in my 4-wheeler across Little Rock like I did in Stuttgart. We didn't have a lot of snow days in Stuttgart.
Dude, my neighborhood, speaking of that, I won't see a single 4-wheeler all year.
Yeah,
But let an inch of snow fall, and there's I swear to God, it's like I live in the out in the county somewhere, like
all those little hidden
side by
garages.
sides
Yeah.
and 4-wheelers and all kinds of stuff pop out in my neighborhood. I'm like, where did all this stuff come from?
Yeah, I guess this would be the first time Anthony had seen. If it does snow, it'll be the first time Anthony's seen it.
Oh, that's
so
fun.
we might throw him out there with Princess
bubble
Bon
soup.
Bon, the golden retriever. Yeah, and I think Mary Louise is making some sort of soup.
Yeah.
So yeah, chili soup would be good.
I've got the menu's got to be carefully curated, I think.
Oh, yeah?
You got to be thinking about that. Matthew, what about you?
You can't just hop up and go to the grocery store if it's
What?
Yeah.
You can't just go. That's rough.
But I mean, I live
I have-
down like in a valley,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's-
true.
Yeah, it's
I have eggs at my house, so
Yeah.
lots of eggs will be probably eaten.
okay.
Courtesy of Costco. Cans of soup. Hopefully, there's
Yeah.
electricity to heat them up. You know.
yeah.
Activities. Probably watching my corgi struggle to jump through, hopefully, more than a few inches of snow.
That'd be entertaining.
That would be pretty fun.
You know, drinking coffee and reading a book. I
Yeah.
think these are the adult.
Yeah, no
adulting
snowman.
Well, not for me. I just snowman is just not fun.
You
to
know,
me.
growing.
What if your daughter wants a snowman?
We'll be building a snowman. Maybe 2 of them.
I feel like it rarely snows enough in Arkansas to make like truly like the idyllic snowman.
It would take an
they're
entire
always
front
just-
yard of snow.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's usually muddy by the time you're rolling the head
Yeah.
together.
That's why it's a messy job in Arkansas. You know, there's leaves wrapped up in all
Yeah.
that's poking out of that stuff.
What was the last big one we had? Wasn't last year? Year before? maybe,
That-
during
that-
2 years
COVID?
ago,
When
the
we got like
snowpocalypse.
17 inches,
We were out
over-
for like 4 days.
Yeah, over 2 or 3 days or something like
That's
that.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Still enough time to have something like that, I
Yeah.
guess. You know, they started talking about this winter like back in the fall because of the El Nino and things like that. And so I would venture that whatever we get, if we get anything this go around, it won't be the last.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, we've talked about that on here, didn't we? I think I gave a report on.
Yep. I think, yeah. See, it's all coming back
Ask
to
me what I
us now.
said, and I probably couldn't tell you. But
Well, it's going to be pretty. That's the prize snow we got, last Friday before last, whenever that
Yeah,
was.
that- I mean,
that was
yeah, I
awesome.
wasn't here.
But
Yeah.
it it was here, and then it rained, and it was gone.
Yeah,
So it
gone
was-
by lunch.
Well, if the wind blows too hard in my neighborhood, the power goes out. So that's what I'm really
tricky.
concerned about. I'm
Yeah.
kind of on the verge of going to buy a generator.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
let me tell you, as someone at my old house, power went out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It really makes you want one of those built-in generators.
Yeah.
Those honestly, like, they're expensive.
It's
Oh,
an
yeah,
investment.
super expensive.
It's an
But
investment.
like, if you're gonna stay at a house for 10 years, it's worth it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, no doubt.
those things are killer.
I have firewood being delivered tomorrow,
Yeah.
so that should have us covered mostly.
Well, our fireplace, it's
Yeah.
not wood.
Yeah,
And it doesn't
should
heat.
still.
I
Okay.
don't know. It's messing
Okay.
apart. Around.
Yeah, I just moved into a new house, and trying to make that one work has not gone well.
Yeah, yeah, you
Mine
got
just
gas
burns
logs.
gas. That's all it
Yeah,
does. It looks
Yeah.
pretty.
Well, that's a benefit.
As
I
a-
yanked my gas logs out last year.
Yeah, as an economist,
back
if I
to
don't
natural.
receive value out of it, I don't like it. So.
Well, that's smart thinking. All right, well, I hope y'all have a enjoyable day and weekend, no matter what the weather brings.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's get into a little bit of news and see if we can't knock the rust off here and put a show on. First things first, Will Hopkins joined the Public Affairs and Government Relations team this week as the Rural Development and Local Affairs Director, and have talked to Will a few times, and certainly good to get to know him and have him on staff. And,
Yeah, I think he'll do
excited
well.
to see what he'll do. Let me see, an old baseball player. You know, if anybody's into baseball, I bet he'll be willing to chat some baseball with you.
Oh, he's an old baseball.
He's an
player.
old baseball.
Oh,
player.
okay.
He was a collegiate baseball player. I
Oh,
believe.
how
So,
about that?
yeah. Let me see here. I wanted to jump back to something that we talked about the last time we were with you, and that is that USDA and DOE is hosting a virtual listening session on solar energy siting on ag land. If this is something that concerns you, something that you're seeing in your community, even if you're not a farmer, and you say, hey, look, my rural community, has some unique needs or may not need to lean too hard into this, I would encourage you to participate. As we always say on the show, your feedback is important. If you don't give your feedback, nobody will.
100%.
There are a series of these listening sessions happening in the next week or so. One of them is specifically focused on agricultural producers, on farmers, to participate. You can do so on January 16th from 9 to 10:30 a.m. our time. Again, that's USDA and DOE virtual listening sessions on solar energy siting on ag land. Go to USDA's website, DOE's website, and see where to participate, how to participate, and let them know if you've got concerns or thoughts, on this topic. I think it'll be important. Let me see. Heads up on the 2024 Arkansas Grown Conference and Expo.
Coming up.
That is correct. It'll be held January 25th through 27th at the Hot Springs Convention Center. Yours truly will be there recording this very show on site. So if you have plans to attend, or even if you don't, maybe you want to check it out and try and attend. Again, that's January 25th through the 27th, the Arkansas Grown Expo happening in Hot Springs. Another one that popped up this week that's pretty popular among our folks is the A-State Agribusiness Conference on February 7th. Officially announced that date a little earlier this year. I've been going to that thing for a long time. It's generally on Valentine's Day or right around there.
Yeah.
But that happens in Jonesboro at the Fowler Center on campus at Arkansas State. That is, I'll call it Burt Greenwald's Agribusiness Conference up there.
Yeah. He puts on a good show.
Yeah, and certainly as we get the agenda and itinerary for that event, we'll share that here. Last thing I've got before we get into the news, if you have been keeping up with the show like you should, as we've been off, then you know that we have had some really great deep dives lately. We had one to end the year. We've already had a couple this year. Go back and catch Whitney Hagewood, ag reporter for the Delta Farm Press. She gave us some of the top ag stories of the year in Arkansas. I think that was the last show we put out in 2023. You got to sit down with Dr. John Anderson.
That was fun.
New head of extension. I believe we ran that show last week. Okay. So you can go back and have a listen at that. I noticed Talk Business has a feature with Dr. Anderson this week as well. So a lot to read about there. The economist who spoke in the specialty crops commodity division said Dr. John Anderson is a big reason why I'm here, why I came here from Michigan. Big testament to him.
Yeah, Trey spoke very highly of him.
Yeah. So,
which most people do. So.
Yeah. And then we had a surprise visit from Congressman Steve Womack while you were out. So I sat down and had a chat with the congressman about Farm Bill, about labor issues, immigration issues, and he spent Thanksgiving at the South Pole.
Oh, wow.
In Antarctica. Yeah, and he gives us a complete rundown of what the weather was like, what they ate, what he saw. It was really a pretty cool conversation.
Was this a work trip? Or?
It was a work trip.
Wow.
He was invited to see some of the projects that are funded by Congress there. And he spent time with about 8 Arkansans who live there and work there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool. So go back and listen to that episode too. We put that out last Friday. So we did 2 episodes last week, Dr. Anderson and Congressman Womack.
Yep.
And see what you can find there. So why don't we? Yeah, that's a good call. We have talked about those a few times. Do you want? Sorry, if you're watching and you see John is.
I had an idea.
He had an idea. So let's cover.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but since they're going on right now, I figured it'd probably be a good idea to just remind people.
Good call.
During January and through February, the University of Arkansas's Cooperative Extension Agency will be holding their 2024 winter row crop production meetings. They've already held 2, which was January 8th and January 10th. Let's see, in Morrilton and Texarkana. There'll be 2 more in January, one in Wiener, one in Mariana. Those will be January 23rd and January 29th. But if you want more information and what the dates are in February, there's a bunch of them here, so we don't really have time to go through them. You can go to uaex.uada.edu. I just put in winter row crop production meetings in Google for University of Arkansas, and it took me straight to that page.
And you got it.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. So for row crop production meetings, there's going to be a lot of good information in each one of these. And I'm not sure if they're going to be handling different specific row crops for each county or production practices. I'm not real sure. So be sure to check out their website for dates and more details.
I think we talked about this several weeks ago, and we also said if you cannot find it on the Google machine, you can call your local county extension agent or office and ask them.
Or call me. I'm sure I can help you.
John McMahon.
Yeah.
How about that? That's personal concierge meeting updates.
Hey, man, I'm here to help.
Better be careful.
Yeah.
It's just going to be mail at your door. It's
just make sure I'm not doing something else at the same time.
That's funny. All right. Well, let's get into the news.
Let's do it.
And see if we can't teach y'all a thing or two. All right. I'm going to kick off today with some great news for farmers from the Natural Resources Conservation Service here in Arkansas. Yes, we are talking money right out of the gate in 2024. The USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service, we'll call it NRCS, that's how we all know it, will be utilizing Act Now to process conservation applications in some categories to deliver funding assistance faster to you. We're talking about the EQIP program here. Okay, for this fiscal year, the Act Now program within EQIP, or the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, allows Arkansas NRCS to immediately approve applications in a designated ranking pool when an eligible application meets or exceeds the state-determined minimum ranking score. Act Now will utilize minimum ranking score thresholds for each ranking pool. This means no longer having to wait for all applications to be reviewed and pre-approved in a ranking pool.
Nice.
USDA says that if a farmer or rancher has a pending EQIP application at their USDA Field Service Center or has never even applied for EQIP, this is the chance to take action on the funding opportunity. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the funding a little bit.
Okay.
There are 3 opportunities included here. Seasonal High Tunnel Initiative, the Arkansas Soil Health Initiative, and the Arkansas Energy Initiative. In total, with this funding round, there is $19 million available in this program in Arkansas, and it will be available on a first-come, first-served basis beginning January 22nd, and it's only open for 30 days. It'll close February 22nd. If you've got questions, there's a statewide informational session scheduled for January 19th. USDA says it plans to have a session hosted in every Arkansas county.
Oh, wow.
We're also told there will be a Zoom option, and keep an eye out on our channels for that link to the Zoom option soon. If you want to learn more, visit nrcs.usda.gov.
There we go. Well, good. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is, and it's broken out, so it's in categories. The high tunnel is $1 million. I think soil health is $10 million, and then the energy is $9 million, or $8 million rather. But these guys preview on Tuesday. This is so important and such high priority. I think for us in getting this information out from our members, we've asked them to come in and record a deep dive on this.
Oh yeah.
Alvin Peer from USDA, from Arkansas NRCS's office, Alvin Peer is going to come in, have a chat with us, and we're going to put that episode out on Tuesday. Okay. So you'll have sort of a preview to the preview happening on January 19th.
Perfect.
So keep an eye out on our channels Tuesday to see that deep dive episode.
Awesome. Well, you want to continue the conversation of money?
Let's do it.
All right. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, which is the USDA, as Jason already told us, their Agricultural Marketing Service has partnered with the Arkansas Department of Agriculture to help support the state's food supply chain. Back in May, if we just back up a little bit and kind of set a story here, USDA announced the availability of up to $420 million to the Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Program, or RFSI, which is authorized by the American Rescue Plan. Through this program, AMS has entered into cooperative agreements with state agencies, commissions, or departments responsible for agriculture, commercial food processing, seafood, or food system and distribution activities or commerce activities in states or U.S. territories. It's a mouthful, but let's fast forward to Tuesday.
Yeah.
USDA and the Arkansas Department of Agriculture announced they are working together to offer $4.2 million in competitive grant funding for projects designed to build resilience across the middle of the food supply chain in Arkansas. So we've got our own $4.2 million now just for the state of Arkansas.
Yeah.
Using RFSI funding, the Arkansas Department of Agriculture will expand capacity for the processing, aggregation, and distribution of agricultural products. Funded projects will also include the construction of new facilities or updating of existing facilities or equipment, as well as improving capacity to comply with food safety regulations. The state's priorities are informed by stakeholder engagement and outreach to underserved producers to better understand their needs. Arkansas Secretary of Agriculture Wes Ward was quoted saying, "The Arkansas Department of Agriculture is pleased to help administer the RFSI grant program and looks forward to seeing its positive impacts on our state's largest industry. These funds will strengthen Arkansas agriculture by supporting investments to enhance supply chain operations and equipping producers with tools to expand local food systems." Just to continue, those interested in receiving a subaward should apply directly through the Arkansas Department of Agriculture by February 16th, 2024. So you've got a little bit more than a month to apply for this program. AMS encourages applications that serve smaller farms and ranches, new and beginning farmers and ranchers, underserved producers, veteran producers, and underserved communities. Through the program, and in addition to the infrastructure grant funding, the Arkansas Department of Agriculture will support supply chain coordination and technical assistance to farmers and food business operating and processing, aggregation, and distribution, all critical activities to support access to more and better markets for farmers. And if you want more information on how to apply for this program, go to the Ag Department's ArkansasGrown.com website and just search Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Grant Program.
Yeah, there it is.
And I think this is a pretty interesting program because I was also reading that aquaculture is part of this as well.
Oh, interesting.
So some of our catfish guys might be able to take advantage of this program.
I have seen across the way from my office this week a lot of work on the Arkansas Catfish Trail.
Yeah.
Marketing component of that, and that's been fun to see. This is great. I mean, it's more local foods, making it into your kitchen and from locally grown. I will tell you, the grocery store was kind of out of a few things, so we are going to pack up on Saturday and go up to see the folks at Flying Sea Ranch buy some protein to make some good old snow day meals.
Man, they've got some good steaks. And if they've got some...
And they've expanded.
Yeah.
Pork and chicken now.
Yeah, I've heard. Talked to Michael about it.
So I'm excited.
Every once in a while, not often or always, they have somebody making them cookies, like homemade oatmeal cream pie cookies.
Uh-oh.
And they're huge. You can't eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or you'll be sick. They're phenomenal.
Is that a dare?
So if you go up there, get me 5.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do it. We're going Saturday. I sent Lauren a text this morning. I said, "Are y'all going to open the store Saturday?"
Yeah.
And she said, "Yeah, we're open 8 to 1." I said, "The Browns will be there."
Well, let's take a short break and hear a bit about what a Farm Bureau membership can do for your community.
Your Arkansas Farm Bureau membership supports the work we do on behalf of Arkansas farmers, ranchers, and communities around the state. A $40 annual Farm Bureau membership makes a difference in your neighborhood. From youth leadership programs and academic scholarships to hunger relief and disaster support, you can make a difference and be a champion for your community. Join at arfb.com.
All right, let's get back to the news. Some interesting news from AgriPulse since we last recorded an episode of this show. They report that global food commodity prices were down sharply in 2023.
Are you taking an economist story and making it your own?
I sure am. I'm auditioning. According to Philip Brasher's reporting here, global prices for food commodities ended 2023 at 10% below their 2022 levels. You're right. I'm going to pause. This is an economist story. It is chock full of numbers. So just a fair warning to the listener.
I believe you. I believe in you, man. You need some practice.
Yeah. So global prices for food commodities ended 2023 at 10% below their 2022 levels. Philip Brasher's source here is the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. On a whole, the index was nearly 14% below the 2022 average. Why? I think we can answer that. Soybean oil prices dropped 3% in December alone, largely based on lower biofuel demand and improved weather in Brazil, who's the world's largest producer of soybeans. The vegetable oil index, get this, was down nearly 33% from 2023 from 22. Yeah, from 22. The FAO price index for grains increased 1.5% in December, reflecting higher prices for wheat, corn, rice, and barley. But the index for 23 as a whole was down 15.4% over 2022. The index for meat prices fell 1% in December, led by slower demand for pork, beef, and poultry. And rounding out the report is dairy with an index up almost 2% in December as prices for butter and cheese have increased. But overall, the dairy index was still 16% below its December 2022 level.
Okay.
So I think the general consensus is across the board, the price index is down. We saw some flurries of activity maybe in December.
Yeah.
Probably Christmas meals, or just the three of us alone may have accounted for that as much as we like to cook and eat. But in general, even when we saw an uptick in December, over the year as a whole, in 23 was down compared to 22.
I like how you use that word flurry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Good
picked that up. Anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting.
You know, I read an article that all the weather in the Midwest, like Kansas and up further north of that, has closed a bunch of meat processing facilities.
Really?
Tyson, Cargill, stuff like that. People are getting trapped on the interstate or highway going to work. And then even if they do make it to work, they've had to stay the night at the facility. But they've had to shut down all processing. So that 1% in meat that went down, I don't know.
That could be. Well, and it takes
now.
us right back to that local foods piece that you had before. I mean, that's where all of that started, was in COVID and meat processing facilities having to close down and not being able to operate or keep up.
Yeah.
Well, I had another thought about this story, and they talk about Brazil soybean oil prices being down because that Brazil soybean crop, which we've talked about a lot. And then one of the experts that you had in
Dr. Byram,
in the commodity division said Brazil's been having a drought.
Yeah, they were expected to get, according to Hunter, they're supposed to have a rain either this week or next week that they think should
get
them through the season. But Brazil not only was expected to have a bumper crop, but now they're going through a drought. They have been snatching up a bunch of that export market, though.
Yeah,
and soybeans
super
at least.
Interesting. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens down there and how that impacts
everything,
prices here. And then somebody was telling me the other day that the Panama Canal, they've been having drought situations down there too, and it's affecting how many boats can go through the canal.
Oh, really?
So they're having to either go down through the southern tip of South America and then come back up.
Oh,
and they're scared of what that's going to do to prices.
Goodness gracious, yeah, no doubt.
A lot of things to be worried about.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. Mostly weather related.
Yeah. Well, I got one more story.
Okay.
Black Vultures. I'm sure a lot of our livestock.
Is that your new band name?
Black Vultures. It should be Tyler Oxford because he's the one that does all the permits in the office. So any of our livestock folks probably know more than they want to know about black vultures.
Yeah, no doubt.
But black vultures and the negative impacts they have on cattle herds are being discussed in the U.S. Senate as we speak. The Black Vulture Relief Act, which is endorsed by the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, or NCBA, was introduced in the Senate just the other day. The act, spearheaded by Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, serves as a companion of the legislation previously presented in the House of Representatives in 2023. The goal of this act is to provide a respite to the economic hardship experienced by cattle producers due to the predation of black vultures. So as you probably know as a livestock producer, you have to apply for permits to remove these birds from your property. This act hopes to remove that process.
Okay.
Just a little background. Gene Copenhaver, the NCBA Policy Division Chair, underscored the financial damage that black vulture attacks can inflict on small, family-run cattle farms. He expressed criticism of the existing regulations that limit producers from adequately safeguarding their livestock. Copenhaver also argued that black vultures whose population numbers have grown significantly do not require federal protection, making this new legislation crucial for livelihoods of cattle producers.
Interesting.
The NCBA has expressed appreciation for the efforts of both Senator Mullen and Representatives John Rose and Darren Soto for their advocacy on behalf of cattle producers. A member of the NCBA and a Missouri cattle producer who had witnessed black vulture attacks on his herd previously offered testimony in the House Natural Resources, Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries Subcommittee. The testimony underscored the gravity of the situation for those involved in the industry. The Black Vulture Relief Act is a bipartisan legislation aimed at allowing cattle producers to take immediate action against vultures without requiring a permit, like I said, when their livestock is at risk of injury or death. This legislation offers a response to the devastating impacts of black vulture predation on small family-owned cattle operations. It aims to provide relief to cattle producers from the financial and emotional devastation caused by these attacks, signifying a crucial steps toward safeguarding the interest of the cattle industry. So that's, I can't remember how many. I think it's like 3 permits they can get in a year. I'd have to ask Mr. Oxner.
I remember when we got the group permit. That was one of the first things I did at Farm Bureau, and I knew the number then. I don't remember it now. But
I can't remember what it is.
Isn't it? I think it's 3 permits, and you get how many birds per permit?
I want to say 3 per permit or 1 per permit.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But it's really complicated, right? Like you have to have the permit, you have to terminate the birds, you have to display them in effigy.
Yeah,
like it's
complicated. But I'll say the program that we got started here at Farm Bureau really cuts down on the complication. And that's I think it's why we've gone ahead and done what we've done the last few years. And
because originally you had to go through U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, and no knock against them. It's just it can be a stringent process.
Well, that's what we did is we went out and got a number of permits that we could sort of sublet, I guess, right? Is that
exactly
accurate? To help farmers, sort of streamline that process. Yep. But anyway, this will be interesting to watch because I know this is a huge deal.
Yeah.
I mean, for them. So, all right. Well, that's the news for this week. Matthew, so glad to have you in here. The first show of the week.
Yeah. Well. So, on that note, and we're a little bit different this week.
What do you got for us?
So, let me start with asking, do you guys believe in or do New Year's resolutions?
That's not what I thought you were about to ask.
Well, it's the new year,
Yeah, I mean...
I was thinking Christmas.
Let's not go there. My daughter...
I've been slow this week.
Audience of the show. Yeah, I mean... Yes, I don't consistently make them, but I have, and I have been known to. Yes,
I can't say that I do or don't.
Yeah, well,
I do think about it, but I don't get myself all up in a tiff if I don't.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
and so I'm a believer in fun New Year's resolutions.
Oh,
the losing weight and all that stuff, like
that's intense.
Whatever, but fun things that you want to set goals for yourself. Our podcast always comes back to food.
Yeah.
So here's the question, and I have my answer that I'll kind of give.
I like this already.
A food-related New Year's resolution. That can be going to a restaurant you've always wanted to go to. It could be, making something you've always wanted to try a new dish. I'll tell you, mine is I am planning to start making my own bread this year. And the first thing I'm trying is I'm going to try and make brioche bread.
One of my favorites.
So I'm hoping to make brioche, and hopefully I can bring it on the podcast.
Heck
we can.
Are you going to make any sourdough?
See, here's the sourdough.
Make a starter?
I think everyone always goes to sourdough when they start to make bread, and I just
What about a focaccia?
A focaccia bread, I need to go hit up Margie Raimondo, and
it won't be as good as hers, but good luck.
It won't be as good as hers, but could I get it already? Oh, I know that too. Miss Margie makes some incredible focaccia.
My wife's got a friend who makes her own bread, and actually just recently started an entire profile, YouTube channel, TikTok, all this about bread making. And I have been very tempted. As a matter of fact, the last time I was in the grocery store, I found myself on the live yeast aisle and that thing. And I've never ever tried it. I don't know the science behind it, anything. But it generally this is how I got into barbecue many years ago. If it takes a while, if it's a process, I want to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
my wife asked for beans and cornbread as one of our cold weather meals, and I'm like, okay, I've got the bag of pinto beans on there. You know, she's like, look, I just require like a can. I'm like, no, we're not. No, they need to sit on that stove all day and simmer. I don't want to do the easy way. You know,
Wash them off. And then,
so I think bread making that interests me a lot.
And so that's my food resolution of I'm going to. And brioche is where we're starting. It might take me 3 to 6 months to get good at that, but
Yeah.
you know, then I might move on to something else. I might move to sourdough, maybe to a rye. You know, we'll see. But what, do you guys in the last 30 seconds have you come up with anything that you could think of?
My cooking has really taken a back seat, and I really enjoy cooking.
Yeah,
I
you
really
do.
enjoy good food. That's probably why I cook. It's because I want to eat good food. But it's taken a back seat since the baby's been here, and I guess I should set a goal to, and then I should say the reason I want to set this goal is because my cooking has really shown that I haven't been cooking.
Oh, I see. I
And-
see where you're headed.
Gotten lazy in the kitchen, just
Yeah, some of the meat I've been cooking has been not overcooked, but more cooked than what I wanted.
you've lost the touch. You know?
I've lost that touch.
Yeah.
And before I lost the touch, I always thought that I was missing something. Like there was a next level that I hadn't reached yet in my cooking, and I'm so far from that point now. So yeah, that's my goal.
Get back to it.
Get back to it.
Get back to it. That's a good one.
I like that one. I had a realization this week that I have never made a roux before. And that's one part intimidation
Yeah.
and one part, frankly,
Well, you better not burn that roux.
the girls in my house don't love, spicy, I'll say flavorful food.
Yeah.
They often tell me that I overseason. But I would really like to try and, get a roux down and see if I can't, do something with that.
Yeah.
I make gumbo,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I will ashamedly tell you that I did it with a sort of starter
yeah.
Louisiana, starter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sort
that
of
can be
deal.
good, but it's not the same as
It was
going from
good, but
Yeah.
This is a little off topic, but I was eating lunch today with somebody, and I was really thinking about Burger Week.
Man.
you just talked about
Man,
Burger Week.
And how we all
That-
three went and ate at Mockingbird.
Yeah.
That Mockingbird taco burger.
And I started thinking, I was like, whatever it was I was eating at the time, I was like, this isn't near as good as that burger.
That burger, man.
Hey, and as we wind up, Matthew made a discovery that I have made recently also.
Oh yeah.
If you don't go to the Big W down in Riverdale and have that smash burger,
barbecue.
his
The-
smash burger,
yeah. I didn't know they had a
don't
smash
sleep on
Dude,
it.
incredible.
Really?
And $12 with that and a side and like
burger. And their chicken, that's the best thing I've had there.
Yeah.
Uh,
that's
I haven't had the
every-
burger yet.
everything there. But yeah, that brisket burger. whew.
That's another barbecue place that their burgers off the chain.
yeah.
Craig,
Yeah.
Craig's in Duval's Bluff. I
How
told
about
y'all
that?
before.
Yeah.
With the slaw.
With the slaw, DVB, baby. You got to be there. Be square.
All right, I think we've done enough today. Hopefully, we'll be back next week if they haven't run us off. That wraps up the news for this week. Thanks for following along with the Arkansas AgCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
Remember, you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find video episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the audio version wherever you listen to podcasts.
And make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes. The Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown,
And I'm John McMinn.
and we'll see you next week.